मन और मुख का मौन बखूबी दादी तुमने धारा है, महक रहा है आज भी तुमसे।
कमल पुष्प सम सदा रहे तुम, कमल पुष्प सम सदा रहे तुम, जग से न्यारी प्यारी, संगम पर भी लगती थी तुम दिव्य राजकुमारी।
कमल पुष्प सम सदा रहे तुम, जग से न्यारी प्यारी, संगम पर भी लगते थे तुम दिव्य राजकुमारी।
तभी तो बाबा ने भी आप पर अपना सब कुछ वारा है।
मन और मुख का मौन बखूबी एक तुमने ही धारा है,
मन और मुख का मौन बखूबी दादी तुमने धारा है, महक रहा है आज भी तुमसे।
हे पावनता की गंगा आपका जीवन निर्विकार था। हे पावनता की गंगा आपका जीवन निर्विकार था, तभी सुनाया मुख से आपके शिव ने गीता सार था।
हे पावनता की गंगा आपका जीवन निर्विकार था, तभी सुनाया मुख से आपके शिव ने गीता सार था, शिव ने गीता सार था।
वन ब्रह्मा से ऊंची हस्ती, वन ब्रह्मा से ऊंची हस्ती, शिव को धरा पे तारा है। मन और मुख का मौन बखूबी एक तुमने ही धारा है, मन और मुख का मौन बखूबी दादी तुमने धारा है, महक रहा है आज भी तुमसे।
नक्श कदम पर आपके दादी हम भी चलेंगे प्यार से। नक्श कदम पर आपके दादी हम भी चलेंगे प्यार से।
मन संपूर्ण आपके जैसा जाएंगे इस संसार से। नक्श कदम पर आपके दादे हम भी चलेंगे प्यार से।
मन संपूर्ण आपके जैसा जाएंगे इस संसार से। स्नेहांजलि दादी आपको,
स्नेहांजलि दादी आपको दे।
Om Shanti, Sister Jayanti. And Shanti to everyone, welcome. So Sister Jayanti, that was a beautiful song dedicated to Dadi Gulzar. And we all know Dadi Gulzar, sacrifice. In fact, I was thinking these 5 steps that apply to Brahma Baba also apply to Dadi Gulzar, to all the Dadis. Faithful, obedient, surrender, renunciate, everything. And they certainly followed Baba's footsteps. And one of the things that Dadi always used to say, as you know, Sister Jayanti, she, you know, it's the Body Shop logo also, or motto, that if you think you're too small to do anything, then you haven't spent time in bed with a mosquito. And so in a way, Dadi Gulzar used to say that just be the incense. The incense stick is so small, and yet it's able to spread its fragrance everywhere. So Sister Jayanti, maybe you could also share a bit about Dadi's day and the experience, and of course the revision of the 13th morning Murli. Thank you so much.
Om Shanti Aruna, and Om Shanti to all my brothers and sisters. And thank you for putting up with all the time changes and everything else that's going on. And yes, on the 13th, it was on the 11th, actually. 13th was the Murli, but on the 11th, we began with Baba's Murli, and then we all went into Alok, Avyakt, Lok, and that was the place, which is a beautiful place, very, very lovely, absolutely elegant and beautiful and sparkling. And the tower to Dadi is there, Dadi Gulzar, the Tower of Divinity. And we're able to then spend time actually sitting there, because the other places have a small space where there's a covering, but this is a big space where there's a very beautiful covering. And so you can be out of the heat and the sun and just spend time experiencing the bodiless stage and going to the subtle region. And after that, we had morning program, and very interesting character, somebody who is now currently the Vice Admiral of the Indian Navy, and a very key position, as you can imagine. And the Indian Navy is big, and he's the Vice Admiral. And so basically he's the Assistant Chief, and he practices Amrit Vela, studies Murli. And so he's been following the system of Brahman life for some years now, and has met both Dadi Gulzar, Dadi Jayanti, and also met Murli of Bapdada. So a very special soul playing a special role. And he spoke very beautifully of his experiences with the Dadis, and Dadi Gulzar in particular, and also his experience of Brahman life and how that's helping him have a very clear mind and a steady focus, concentration. So interesting person to be there for Dadi's day. And then, of course, we offered bhog to Baba, and Mohini Ben was the instrument to offer bhog, and something that certainly I wasn't expecting happened. And the first thing we noticed was the hand of blessings. So from just sitting there offering bhog, then we saw the hand go up and drishti, and we were then asked to come up and take drishti from Dadiji. And the drishti was very, very much Dadi, or even Baba, I would say, because Dadi's drishti by the end was like Baba's drishti. And that drishti was absolutely stable and focused and powerful and extremely concentrated. Very, very focused drishti. And after that, the sisters wanted Dadi to say something, and Dadi then actually asked those who were standing right in front of the cameras. Dadi just signaled and everybody parted. And Dadiji spoke of Baba's love and the love of the family. And then the one message was, yes, the love for the family, but the other one was that of unity, that of having harmony with each other. So that was very, very significant, a big message to all of us. And then, of course, it was just a very short few words by Dadiji. And then when Mohini Ben came back, she shared how Baba and Dadi Gulzar were having chit chat, and Baba was saying, you see, everyone's here for you. And Dadi was saying, no, Baba, they're here for you. And that exchange of love between them. And so I'm sure you would have received that message by now. So it was a very historic experience for me, in the sense that it gave me a very powerful signal that Baba is still intervening directly in whatever is going on in the yajna. And why I say that is because so many people now say, well, you know, it's a revision of the Murlis, it's a revision of the Sakar Murlis, even the transmission is revision. And so what newness is there? Well, this was something quite incredibly powerful and unique and very, very unusual. And so Baba, seeing what is the mood of the children and what intervention needs to happen in that way. So I think it was a big boost for all. And of course, many people have lots of hopes that this is going to be a new role for Sister Mohini, and let's see the drama. I asked her directly, is this the beginning of a new chapter? And she smiled and said, well, one can never say no, but it's not a part that I've usually played. And so let's see. But anyway, it was a very beautiful scene to be present at. And yes, it was about 15,000 people that were there. I think maybe by then, actually 15,000 was the figure I saw for morning breakfast. And then for lunch, I saw 17,000 as the figure that was given. But I think many people might have come from Gujarat just for the day. So that might explain it. And then, of course, with Baba's Murli yesterday, again, it was at least 17, if not more, thousand. Because, of course, all the participants had come from all the different complexes also, but it was packed full. And it's become a very lovely feeling of how post-COVID, everybody is returning back to Madhuban. And I think it was about 300 double foreigners that were here yesterday. Some, of course, have already left this morning. So some people even leave Madhuban after Baba has left. And so it's an exodus. At first, it's people coming in, then it's Baba, and then it's people leaving and going out. So it's very interesting, watch the ebb and flow of the tide, in a sense. And the Murli yesterday morning, it's connected very much with the 18th January Murli, because this was on the 20th of January, 1990. And Baba's talking about the 5 steps. And Baba made it so simple. You know, just remember 5 things and you can become Babsaman. But of course, the one who loves all the souls of the world, or seeing his loving children, those were equal and close. And Baba mentioned how the children who are close and equal are the ones who want to follow in Baba's footsteps. Baba also was very beautifully explaining how Shiv Baba, the incorporeal, decided to choose an instrument in the corporeal form like Brahma Baba, who's been through the whole cycle of 84 births and has that recording within the soul. And so Baba chose him so that he could be a model. He could be an excellent example and show the children how easy it was, how simple it was to become like the father. And so the loving father decided to offer an example who could show the easy path to everyone and make everybody aware that yes, it's possible for a human being to achieve all of this. And Baba said, well, I'm going to tell you in essence, and of course, there's a lot of detail to each one of those points, and I'm sure you must be reflecting and churning all of those things. For the first point, the one who renounces everything, the body, bodily relations, but most of all, the first renunciation was of the mind and intellect, so that then there was only Baba and Srimad in his awareness at all times. And if I do this, if I first and foremost renounce the I of my mind and my intellect, then it's easy to renounce the bodily relations and even the body itself, to forget about all of these things. But this first step of renunciation is to renounce the mind and intellect and the consciousness of I, but to surrender both of these to God. And then the second one, and the second one of total obedience. Every thought, every word, every action was according to Srimad. And this is a unique soul in the drama who plays that part of mother and father of the yajna and is able to sustain the yajna and carry out this huge task of establishment, but yet is able to be detached and loving. And so obedience in all aspects. And then the third one, that of being totally faithful. Just as a faithful wife would not have a single thought or a dream about anyone else, there would only be the consciousness of belonging to one. And so for Brahma Baba, absolutely the faithful one. And so many challenges coming, but always that awareness of one's strength and one's support, and being able to follow whatever it is that that one is showing and asking me to do, to be ever present in front of that one. And then the world server, this amazing instrument who became the one who was the instrument for establishment, the one who was able to show a new path. And even with all the opposition that came about, whether it was the leaders of religion, the leaders of government, leaders of any type, he had the power of truth. And so he was fearless, his courage immense and his strength so powerful that he did not shake for a moment, but was able to remain stable as an instrument, absolutely in that awareness of humility and yet the authority of truth. It's a very interesting paradox to be able to have the authority of truth and be fearless, but yet at the same time have total humility. And yet this was the instrument who was able to manage that so beautifully. And because of that, of course, the foundation was so strong that it's led to everything else that's happened since then. And then the fifth one, the one who is absolutely beyond the pull of karma, free from the bondage of karma, free from the bondage of relationships, free from everything, so that in the final moment, one signal, and he was able to fly, and he was able to come to that state of just the awareness of one and no attachments anywhere at all. And so, very powerful summary of the whole of Baba's life from the beginning all the way through till that final moment. I was fascinated how Baba tracked everything down to these 5 steps. If somebody were to ask us to summarize the whole of Brahma Baba's life in 5 sentences, would we be able to do that? And yet Shiv Baba, of course, the Almighty, the ocean, the intellect of the wise, is able to do everything. Baba was able to speak of Murli, which is for 3 hours and capture our attention all the time. And Baba was able to summarize the whole lifetime of someone in just 5 sentences. So that was fascinating for me. And then Baba asking us, are we following in 1 or 2 or all of these steps? And of course, Aruna mentioned how we saw the Dadis, each one of the Dadis follow in this. And so that gives me an indication of who the 8 jewels are. I mean, it wasn't a realization now, but just that comment made me connect it up with this, that if you're thinking about the 8 jewels, then surely it is the ones who followed in Baba's footsteps. And so the ones who followed in all 5 of those footsteps, definitely the 8 jewels. And so each one of us to check ourselves to see where we're at. And then further, Baba's saying that to what extent do you have the same qualities as Baba? And the one thing that Baba picked on, Baba mentioned several different qualities, but Baba picked up on one in particular, and that is unlimited. So do you stay in the limited, or are you able to be in the unlimited? Is there the consciousness of I and mine? Is there the consciousness of my center, my students, my project, my area, my anything? And a little bit of background here. Just a little while earlier than 1990, pre-Om Shanti Bhavan days, we had the meditation hall, but not Om Shanti Bhavan, that was under construction. And I remember stopping in India on my way back from somewhere in the east, back and forth from there to London. And in those days, you could stop over for a few days and it was easy. And so I did that. And it was a teachers' meeting that was taking place. And to my surprise, I saw how everybody was given a map and they were asked to sit within their particular region. And then they were asked themselves to discuss between each other and within that region to see how to demarcate areas that they would be serving in. Because there'd been a little bit of a hoo-ha about which area, which zone, which city, and which within a city, for example, like Delhi. Delhi has about 40 different centers, Bombay the same, any big city in India. And it's so big, the population is so huge that they have areas that they're serving in, and then they collaborate, of course. And so Baba said that, yes, there are areas that have been demarcated, but yet, is your consciousness unlimited? Is there the awareness that I'm a benefactor, not just of my center, of my area, but I'm a world benefactor? And so what is the consciousness that I have, that the whole world is my family, that all of Baba's work is my responsibility, and wherever it is, I can give a finger of support to somebody else? Am I able to do that? And Baba then using this word abundance. And within that, that idea that the Bhandara and the Bhandari, the Bhandara, Baba's kitchen, and whether that's overflowing and abundant, and the Bhandari, Baba's box, is that overflowing and abundant? And if I have a big heart, if I have an unlimited consciousness, then yes, everything will be overflowing. There will be abundance. And if I don't have a big heart, if I'm limited in my heart, in my thinking, in my feelings, then there won't be the same outcome. There might even be a shortfall, of course, but particularly it means that there won't be that feeling of generosity and fulfillment and the results that we would like to see happen. And so a very, very powerful signal. Am I thinking about the world and bringing benefit for the world, or am I thinking just about my own limited space and area and region? And of course, within that, the whole concept of I and mine coming in, and that's going to be very, very restrictive. And it's not going to allow Baba's energy to flow through and make things happen. And then the second thing that Baba wanted us to pay attention to, and that was the subject of balance, and the balance between my own attention to the self and then also my attention to service out there, whether it's world service or service in my area or my region, but service out there. And so Baba explaining very carefully that if there is service that doesn't allow you to stay happy and keep your stage, then that service isn't going to be successful. And so not to get so engrossed in service that I lose awareness of what I need to do for myself inside. And there was a very lovely expression that Baba used, that there are two things to pay great attention to in Brahman life. And that is, and you have to do this lifelong. And first is attention, and the second is practice. And so keep focused on having attention and keep practicing. So your practice of yoga, not just, well, I've been practicing yoga for a long time now, so I don't need to bother anymore. No, that's going to be big time Maya. And so practice, keep practicing, and attention. But not that it's attention that's creating tension, but just simply awareness and that checking that's needed within. Because otherwise, what's going to be the outcome? If it's just service out there without attention on the self, what is going to be the end result for me? And what is going to be the power or the capacity with which I can serve? And another bit I'll just throw in the earlier section of the unlimited. Baba had also spoken about how where if there isn't that attention of the unlimited, and there's just the concern about my centers and the number of centers and the number of students, and Baba said that numbers are not the game. It's not numbers that's going to take you to heaven. It's going to be the quality of what it is you've done and the unlimitedness of your own consciousness that's going to take you to heaven and claim whatever right it is you have for whatever number in heaven. And so really, services is going to happen, but I need to have attention on myself. So it's not a numbers game. It's not even a question of, how far have I spread my wings in terms of service and claimed territory? as my territory, nothing to do with that. But it's my stage, and also on the basis of that, to what extent I've inspired others to come to that same level. And I was saying that just as in anything that you do, when you're thinking about service, it's not just the external budget, but you have to check your spiritual budget. And within the budget, also your savings account. And so Baba said, in terms of spiritual budget, you need to check your time, your thoughts, your energy, your breath, what's happening with all of this. And you can see how all of this is absolutely connected with the attention on the self. But also Baba mentioned the thing that Baba had brought up a few weeks ago, and how Baba had given the signal about words. And I was just reflecting on that for a moment and thinking that when you get too busy, then that mantra that Baba reminded us of a few weeks ago, and that was speak less, speak softly, and speak sweetly. Now, speak less. I need to be able to manage my thoughts so that I'm finding the essence and not letting my mind get into streams of expansion going here and there. And if my thoughts are confused, if my thoughts are expanded, then of course my speech is going to be the same. So speaking less means I'm actually thinking less. I'm aware of the power of my thoughts and not to allow them to go astray, but I'm able to clarify things and come to the essence and then be able to share the essence. So fewer thoughts, fewer words, so less words, but yet able to carry that same essence of significance so that there's clarity and no confusion. And then secondly, soft, speak softly. When we get busy in service, what is the tone of my voice? Does the volume go higher and higher and reach a state where I'm shouting or even screaming? Why? Surely that's not what I came to Baba for. I did not come to Baba for this. And so soft volume. The Dadis would give a signal. I would expect us to understand. And they would be surprised when we didn't understand their signals. And so Daddy would sometimes say, but I signaled to you. Did you not understand? How come you didn't pick up my signal? So to be able to have such clarity that I'm able to communicate, just very softly, to have that spiritual authority where even a few words, soft words, can make a difference. I remember Dadiji, when it used to be the time for meeting with Baba, and people would be excited, people would be singing when it was something that was interesting that was happening on the stage. And then Dadi would just raise her hand. That's all she did. She raised her hand and the whole gathering would become quiet. I don't know how many of you witnessed this, but I must have witnessed this many times. Just one hand, a signal. And she didn't take the microphone and shout to the top of her voice and say, quiet, please. Just a signal. Dadi Jayanti, when she'd enter a gathering and they'd be chatting, mingling, networking, and her presence, again, would make everybody quiet and still. So authority isn't expressed by a loud voice, but to have spiritual authority and to be able to put across my message softly, it's possible. And then thirdly, speak sweetly. And in that, of course, sweetness not artificially, But truly, when I've cleaned out the soul and there's no more lust, anger, greed, attachment, ego, and all of these, of course, change the tone of my voice, the volume of my voice. But then with that total cleanliness and purity, there would be sweetness in the words also, and every word would be invaluable. So Baba had noticed, of course, that sometimes in the busyness of service, we speak harshly, or we speak too quickly, we're not able to communicate clearly, and problems arise in relationships. And so Baba's sweet reminder, Baba's made you aware of the power of words. Baba's explained to you what it is you need to do in terms of service. And of course, then Baba talking about the budget. And within that, Baba was actually speaking to everybody. And Baba's then pointing out how it's a time for unlimited service. And it's still the time for global cooperation, of course, Shubin. It's amazing how much personal attention Baba gave to that project. So Baba actually very graphically describing what it is we need to do. Bring together professionals, bring together a small group, bring together a larger group if you want. You can have a big program if you want. You can have a small program if you don't want to manage a big program. So Baba giving us opportunity. Baba saying it's time for freedom in service. And yes, 1990 was a time in which a huge amount of service expansion happened. And yes, there were little groups, and yes, there were big programs. All of that happened. And Baba saying that do all of this, but within all of that, don't forget your own stage. And so a time for service, but Baba's caution. This is the method with which you do service. Don't just do service full stop, but do it according to the right method. And so again, a memory, many memories awoken through this particular Murli, because it was describing so graphically all the things that those of us who were around at that time were going through. So the 5 steps, but out of that then, special signals from Baba for all of us. So that's the summary of the Murli.
Thank you, gentlemen. You're always so succinct. So, gentlemen, just off the heels of your talk, sometimes, gentlemen, this, speaking softly business, I feel like, if I be honest, I feel like sometimes it feels artificial, because sometimes people are really trying to be very yogi, and and it actually cheeses you off, So there's a fine line between being natural, of course, being happy and jovial and all that. But I do feel sometimes, gentlemen, it is somebody trying to be a yogi, and you can pick that.
When somebody's a yogi, not trying to be a yogi, when somebody is in yoga and they're keeping that awareness, then the way that they speak is very definitely different to the usual way. So let me be able to support that. And if they're trying to be a yogi, well, okay, let me give them marks for even at least trying. But yes, natural is one thing. And then where I get het up and the voice changes and the volume goes higher, that's what Baba's reminding us of. So Baba had asked that question earlier also, of course, Swabhav, what is your original state of being and feeling? So not just say, well, this is my nature and this is how I am. Because you can have a loud voice, but if it's natural loud, then there's no animosity or edge to it. Then there's still a very good feeling about it. But if I know that that's not your normal tone, you've raised it, then of course I also know that there's something else that's interfering.
Yes, true, gentlemen. Thank you. I wanted to just mention this thing about opposition of Baba and how Baba stayed so stable. I wanted to mention how even his business partner, Sevakram Kupchan Daswani, and I don't know if you know, gentlemen, that he actually, well, he turned against, but he actually made a formal, what do you call it, a statement saying that I've known him for 35 years and he learned some magic from a sage that we met 8 years ago. And thereafter, he sent him 10,000 rupees. And that's why he closed the business. I mean, all of it was fake because I've also looked into it. But still, Brahma Baba didn't have any feeling of, animosity towards him or hatred or, I mean, he was amazing in this sense of putting up with opposition and flack. And yet, as Baba said, humble and truth, following the path of truth, and yet being humble and having that authority. So I just wanted to mention, how great our Baba is. But also, gentlemen, I thought to take up this aspect first of the big heart. And we know Baba had big heart, Mama had big heart, Dadi Prakashmani had big heart, Dadi Janki had big heart. We have seen it. And I do feel it is the key to service and to bringing souls closer. And if we, share your story, Sister Jayanti, you used to go and have a little lunch with Dadi Janki, and she had very little, but it was her big heart. So I do believe the big heart is the key. But again, how, gentlemen, how to cultivate that and how to see the importance of it, especially in centers. And this also, gentlemen, goes, well, a lot can be said about centers. Sometimes just feeding somebody, just giving them food if they can't manage for a while, if they're sick, to just provide them a meal once a day. I mean, all this is part of the big heart, isn't it? So
it is.
If you can, elaborate on that, I think that's important.
I think big heart starts with little things, like you've said, where I see there's a need to be able to try and fulfill that, where I see that I can support somebody by giving a little bit of food, a little bit of extra time and attention. Sometimes it's not even anything physical. Sometimes it's just giving your time. And that makes a big difference. So whatever I see is the need at that point, am I able to just stretch my boundaries and say, okay, let me help them in whatever way it is I can. And then, of course, it comes to a little bit of a bigger situation. I see that there's a center that has a need. Can I expand my boundaries and see in what way I can support them? And if I can't support them myself personally, can I think of somebody who could support them and make that connection between A and B so that the center is able to receive help from this other individual? So often, if there is somebody who has that sort of financial capacity, then I think, well, they're already helping this center. So how can I talk to them about that center? But maybe if I do talk to them about that center, they would be able to manage to support that center too. And so the big heart means that not necessarily that I can do everything for another center, but I can open the door and allow things to happen for the other individual to help there, or where they come to me, like it happens so often with Dadi. Somebody would come to Dadi and say, Dadi, I've just had a bonus, or Dadi, I've just had an inheritance. What should I do with it? And so, of course, Baba didn't mention Madhuban. Baba was talking about centers basically. But in fact, is there something I can do to support Baba's big home, Madhuban? And I know that during COVID times, a large number of Baba's children had the thought, we're not able to go to Madhuban, but can we support Madhuban in some way? And they really tried to find a way to support Madhuban. But I also know that during COVID times, many centers would provide meals to people who are very vulnerable and within the neighborhood, and they would be given those meals. We would arrange, I know that there's a whole number of people around Global House, elderly folk, and they would cook specially extra for that. And then there's a brother who took up the responsibility of taking a hot meal to each one of those people every single day during that period. So things like this were happening. And so I think that many of Baba's children do have compassion and a big heart. But sometimes what comes in the way is competition. I'm in competition with another individual. And so I want to prove that I can do things better than they. So I don't have the thought of reaching out and helping that center because it's this individual that I'm competing with. But no, nothing to do with that individual. It's Baba's home, it's Baba's center. And so can I support and help them in whatever way it is I can? And so I see how finance is one thing, food is another thing, but also maybe there's talents at my center. And I know that this other center doesn't have people with those skills. Can I say to this individual, it's beautiful that you're helping here, but I wonder if once a week you can give a little bit of time there so that they also benefit from that. And of course, your fortune grows and your relationships develop in that way. And so can I have that generosity of spirit in which I say, let every center flourish, let Baba's work everywhere flourish, and every individual be able to be supported to move to their own highest potential.
Yes, gentlemen. And actually, a few of our students had given me their ticket for Madhuban because we didn't go, for a year and a half. So they said, here's our ticket money and please send that. So you're right. But also
right.
Service, as you were saying, gentlemen, even opportunity for service, right? Like, you'd be a better person for this, so please go ahead.
Yeah. It's a big one, isn't it? Here's an opportunity that seems to be opening up and it's come to me, but maybe there is another person who would avail themselves of that opportunity in a better way than me. Can I have that generosity in which I offer that to another? Yeah.
And also, gentlemen, I remember when we would come to you with some donation and then you would say, give it to, you'd always say, give it to Madhuban or give it to Jagatamba Bhavan. And you also were embodying this big heart. So we learned from that. Thank you. So, gentlemen, how is that different from being unlimited? Can we move to being unlimited? Because I feel sometimes we want to be unlimited, but then we get scared or we have doubts whether the unlimited will work in terms of, okay, we want to serve everyone, we want to invite everyone, we want to give to everyone, but maybe we can't. So first question is, how is unlimited different from big heart? And again, how to make unlimited work?
I think for me, unlimited is not having a big program and inviting everyone. Unlimited is really knowing that it's God's work, and let me be aware of that. And I know that God's work has to reach everyone. And so can I be totally impartial and without thinking of one or another in terms of this group or that group? In an unlimited way, I know that I don't have enough space for everyone, but can I also say, okay, today it's this, tomorrow is this, and the next day and the next day, so that people see and it's visible that I am thinking of all of them and not just thinking of one group or another group, and to be able to balance that out, because otherwise it's so easy to become partial and favor this group against that group. Give you an example. Sometimes maybe my affinity is with the kitchen. And so I'm calling the kitchen walas, having a meeting with them, giving them toli and whatever. But what about the technical team? without a technical team, a program couldn't happen. And so these are the invisible people, the light, the sound, and all of those things that are required to make a program happen. And so unlimited means not just thinking about one department, but thinking about all the different departments. And sure, I can't call everyone at the same time. If I could, fine. But if I can't, let me be aware so that then I'm balancing my time and energy, but I'm giving the same opportunity of closeness and intimacy and opportunity to all. And so unlimited to really, really make sure that it isn't one group or a few individuals that are being given opportunity all the time. And it's very easy to forget about parts that are unseen in a sense. And so not to think about that, but, or even where, where there's mixture of different ethnicities and backgrounds. But again, to have that unlimited consciousness in which they're my family. I think more than anything else is this feeling of belonging, that they belong here and they have a right to be here, and not to be disparaging about them or put anyone down because they're from a particular background. I think unlimited in a very practical way is part of that. I might not be able to serve the whole wide world and the 5 continents, but the people who are here, am I able to serve them all equally with the same vision? Or is there an affinity to people who speak my language as distinct to people who speak a different language? But now, of course, they're here and we are one family. But sometimes there's this linguistic thing, sometimes it's a racial thing. All of these things in a subtle way come in even within the Brahmin family. And Baba, the Dadis never allowed that. If they're giving time to one group today, they'll give time to another group tomorrow. They'll make sure that it's balanced out in that way.
Yes, and you reminded me of the early days where Baba refused for them to talk in Sindhi or have any kind of conversation, because that would, like keep others out. Baba would say, why do you need to speak in another language? Are you gossiping or something? So be transparent, be open.
Yeah.
So, gentlemen, I really love this line where Baba said, why do you become worthy of worship? Because those who stay in their self-respect automatically receive respect from others. And it's just, again, pointing out the karmic thing. You become worthy, you respect yourself, and others will automatically respect you. But my question to you is, because Baba differentiated between body conscious and soul conscious. So what is imperishable soul consciousness? And could you talk a bit about that?
Imperishable soul is, the soul is imperishable, but imperishable soul consciousness is where that's what I'm aware of more and more and more. It begins right from the first day I come to Baba and I practice this idea of I, the soul. But then to what extent am I able to maintain that through the day? Am I so busy that I forget about soul consciousness? Am I so engaged in whatever it is I'm doing that I'm not checking what is the consciousness that I'm in? And that state of being aware of who I am as a child of God, and so having that awareness of my own elevated status, not just as a soul or even an imperishable soul, but a child of God, a soul who has this fortune of recognizing Baba and connecting with Baba. And so how valuable am I in that awareness? And when I forget that, then of course Baba was talking about the whole thing where even if there's a president or a prime minister, the soul leaves the body and the status gets lost with that also. But that awareness of soul, and in that eternal consciousness of I, the soul, the child of God, a soul who belongs to the deity clan, and connected with my own inner core values, then those core values make me valuable. And so recognizing my own value, and I'm not needy. You see, the problem is that when I don't have that inner self-respect, not only is it that I'm craving for respect from others, or I'm seeking respect from others, but more than that, it's this state of neediness. I need attention. I need somebody to give me their love. I need somebody to give me their time. That neediness is never going to allow me to be content. So I see how insecurity, because I don't have that recognition of my own value and that state of self-esteem, then I'm very insecure, I'm fearful. There's so many things that happen because of this loss of identity of the inner being, of the true self. And if you think about the neediness of people, you think about the insecurity, you think about the fears that people have today, it's all absolutely connected with this lack of recognition of the self. And for Brahmins also, of course I know I'm a soul. I've been told I'm a soul 5 times in the Murli today already, or even 7 times in the Murli. Well, listening to it is one thing, repeating it in words is another thing, but feeling it and being it is something else. And if I, the soul, am actually in that consciousness of my own value and my own worth, then I don't need somebody to praise me, to say you are wonderful, or somebody to acknowledge that what I did was amazing. No, I've done what I needed to do out of love for Baba, and Baba sees it. And whether others acknowledge it or not, it's okay. Never mind. And maybe later on, they will acknowledge, but I'm not even waiting for that. But that neediness for that recognition from outside is a drain. It really is, because it's creating a lot of waste thoughts in my mind. And so I have to learn to be stable in my own state of dignity. And I'm sure that this is part of why Baba was able to be so powerful and absolutely stable, because Baba acknowledged who he is and acknowledged I am to be Narayan, acknowledged that, yes, I am Nimit. God has chosen me for this task. And that's how Baba became number 1. And so following in the Father's footsteps, definitely, absolutely, that recognition of the inner being, in that first step, renunciation. Well, the renunciation to God. Who am I renouncing all this for? It's to be able to connect with God. And so I don't need any of those things. I just need to be in that awareness of the 3 things that I used to say. Om Shanti 1, who am I? Om Shanti 2, who do I belong to? Om Shanti 3, what do I need to do? So Baba was totally aware of this all the time.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, gentlemen. So just 1 or 2 questions from chat. This is as a result of last week's discussion when we talked about the drama being merged in the point. So this person is asking, why does Baba say that even if the entire ocean is converted to ink, the forest into paper, that this knowledge cannot be completely written, while the entire drama is merged in a tiny point?
This is the beauty that, yes, if you, even just today's Murli, if you just think about Brahma Baba's life and all the things associated with the 5 different points, you wouldn't be able to summarize that in just a few words. It's so much, so much, so much, so much. And so God sharing knowledge with us all the way from Karachi days, and gradually clarifying it, defining it, and summarizing it. All of that has happened in the last 84 years. So slowly, 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 the ocean, really, a huge amount has been shared. And yet, then Baba will say, you can summarize it all in 3 dots: soul and God and drama. And yes, everything is merged within these 3 things. So this is the paradox. And just as, when there's the discussion about what is light in waves or is light in rays? And it's both. It's rays, but it's also waves. And so God is the ocean, and God is also just a point. And so drama is unlimited, but the unlimited drama can also be summarized in just a point.
Thank you.
It's a little bit of a trick for the intellect to juggle with. You know how sometimes people can grasp one thing, but it's difficult for them to relate it in another way. And you need to have an agile intellect, light and easy and clear, and then it can move from this aspect to that aspect, because it is both. It's not just one.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of our knowledge. Just last question. Why do we deceive ourselves thinking that we have accumulated a lot, but actually we have not, according to Baba?
It's easy to think that, well, I've done so much service, I've been talking to so many people, I've given so many the course, or I've done so much for Baba in terms of finance. If I think on that external level, then that's deception. But the mirror that comes in front of me is, am I content? Am I happy? Am I able to feel full and fulfilled? And that state of contentment will tell me, yes, things are right, things are going as they should, and I'm not deceiving myself. And if I'm not happy and content and so on, that's a very clear indication that I am deceiving myself. So that will tell me.
Right, Gentleman. Thank you so much. Gentleman's little body was not so well, but she adjusted and gave us her time. So a big thank you to you. Thank you to everyone. And now after this, we will be transmitting Sister Mohini's class in Madhuban. It's 6 p.m. now in Madhuban. And so just stay on if you want to listen to that. And the same translations will continue. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Om Shanti.
Thank you. Om Shanti.
Together
Om Shanti. Thank you.
कौन मिला है सोचो तुमको कौन मिला है कौन तुम्हारा साथी है कदम कदम पर मदद तुम्हारी ये एहसास दिलाती है
Om Shanti, Mohini Didi. On behalf of all the double foreigners that are gathered here, and also the Sevadaris that are here in Gyan Sarovar, a very, very warm welcome to you. So a little bouquet of flowers from Baba's garden here in Gyan Sarovar. In some ways, I think we've all felt that we've been with you for the last 2 years with the continuous program of Avyakti Parivar, and the family is very grateful for that sustenance. So we look forward to you sharing with us this evening Baba's jewels from yesterday's Murli, and to be with all of us here in Gyan Sarovar. So warm welcome. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. I was actually looking forward to be in Gyan Sarovar with all of you. But because of certain physical circumstances, it couldn't work out. But I am happy I am able to see all of you. Just imagine we had 2 Avyakt Murlis in the morning and then in the afternoon. And every word of the Murli, to understand it, to reflect, and then to practice every word, it's quite a lot, right? Morning Murli was follow Father. And one of the main aspects in the afternoon in the Murli was to claim inheritance and serve the souls who are unhappy. They have a lot of sorrows, not only sorrows, but lot of suffering these days. Internally with the fears, but externally also lot of fear. Because of frustrations and subtle anger, there is lot of violence, unnecessary. And then just imagine whether it is through natural calamities or calamities created by human beings. There are so many people who are losing their homes and they don't know where to go, what to do. A lot of souls are wandering, dying. Baba wants us to serve everyone. But then for that, I have to prepare myself. During these few months, what I found, which was very interesting, that the most easy way for anything, whether solving problem, getting power from Baba, experiencing Baba's help and directions, is to remember Baba. And I thought that creating my eternal stage of the soul, which is soul consciousness, and remembering Baba, where I am not only not allowing waste to come, but I am increasing my power in each thought. So just imagine if I am able to settle whatever, and I am able to create also. And I am not creating just for my fortune, but I want to create also to serve. And I found that now for me, it's easy. I just go into, it's like, you know, if you are driving and suddenly you are lost into exit point, which side I should go, or there is any problem in the car. First thing you will do is to go in your neutral gear, right? And then you decide which side, and then you increase
je veux
your
bien prendre le relais, mais jusqu'à
whatever
14h30
speed.
uniquement. Après,
Same
je
is
suis plus
internally.
disponible. Est-ce que vous
This
m'entendez?
practice of pause, pause,
Bon,
pause.
alors je vais continuer.
Maybe you cannot go completely in silence, but at least you
Elle
can
dit que
stop.
peut-être on ne peut pas aller.
And anything when we practice or when there is attention, are two very important aspects. One is attention, another is practice. And then when you practice, because there are attainments, there is attraction, like you really want to do it more, you want to do it more. And also, even if you say, I have to give sakas, but what I find that I can't really take responsibility of saying, okay, I will remove sorrows, I will give happiness.
Non, non, non.
But we can invoke Baba. So when I am listening someone's frustration, disappointment, or sorrow, or these days emotionally, physically, lot is happening. Outside world, but within Brahmin family also. So when you are listening to someone's story or situation which has sorrow or hurt or something, bring Baba. Remember Baba while listening, so you're not listening. Because after all, listening this story, which is of sorrow, it can create some vibrations of sorrow in you too. Whether it is in form of empathy or sympathy, or you are a very kind person, so you are merciful. But still, if someone is going through something, is settling of karmic accounts, what can I do? So Baba can do. And I get such beautiful responses. When I talked, after that it was over. When I spoke, it was, and I knew it's Baba. And honestly, I do not take even 1% credit, because I feel, no, that's not what as a soul I can do, because it's Baba who is almighty. He's the one who is Father, Teacher, Sadguru.
Est-ce que là, c'est OK?
He is the one who is going to give power or remove sorrow. So now many purposes are being solved. One is my remembrance is increasing. And because of that, I am getting power. So that becomes my personal attainment. But then others are also experiencing some help. The song which was played in the beginning was, I experience your help at every step I take. Now, these days, Baba is so invisible, but he's very much present. We cannot say, where is Baba? He hadn't been coming. No. I remember that, I came very young and I was for about 11 years when Sakar Baba was here. So I used to have close relationship and we used to chat and play and ate together with him many times. And then Baba became Avyakt. And when Baba became Avyakt, he came alternate day and stayed for 13 hours. Met with the groups, personal meeting, I remember. He will spend 10, 12, 20 minutes one time talking to many, many individually to Baba's children. And then time came, that stopped. And then still Avyakt Bapdada was coming, that stopped. And then now we know it's just the revision, but we feel the presence. But what I had been doing is my relationship with God, my relationship with Baba is eternal. And now being incorporeal, he made himself available for us to experience him. But then he had always been saying, you have to become like me. Sometimes I think, how can I be like God? And sometimes feel, I say, but I am like Baba. That means sometimes you feel destination is too high. And sometimes you feel because all the qualities of Baba, every quality is within the soul also. Every quality. Even at this time could be in 1%. And that's realization that I am child of Baba as a soul. I have all the qualities of Baba. Only I have to increase the percentage. Like when Baba defined purity yesterday was so subtle. To have wasteful thoughts is also impurity. So Baba is helping us to be like him, to be very close to him. But every Baba's child should have trust that I am like Baba. When first time I heard knowledge, I always believed that my origin isn't divine, but didn't understand. But I used to feel inside lot of divinity. But when I got introduction of Baba, first thoughts oh Baba, oh you are like me, I am also like you. First thing I said to you, you are like me, because when I realized I am soul and start experiencing, when we all begin meditating, lot of love, lot of peace, happiness. And I look at Baba, Baba, you are also like me, but you are ocean. You are unlimited, you are bestower, because Baba doesn't have limit to be in the body, in the sense of he does come, but also he is beyond. So what I have to do, which is more maybe work, that in the body, but still I have to be beyond. It's a lot of practice, right? But underline this thought that we all are like Baba, but there is percentage. How many of you feel that you are like Baba? Let me see hands. Everyone, right? We all are. You have to underline this, because once in a while when there is little struggle or settling or something happen, we could lose that faith and say, oh, it's not practical. How can I be like God? So some of the things are very fundamental principles of knowledge which we have to keep in mind. And one is that I am like Baba. But then Baba gave that day 4 blessings. You have to be close to me. You have to be close to me. Now that happens through awareness, remembrance, whether think of Baba's relationship with me, which we very much feel, right? He's a teacher. Baba is a supreme teacher. Just imagine 365 days, every day, he's still teaching. And it's not, even we might say same Murli, but I am not same, right? If someone says, oh, I have heard this Murli so many times, I haven't heard. 1 year ago, I was different. Now you are better, you are more qualified, you have more understanding. So I am different. I am not same, right? So coming close to Baba, then what Baba does, we become full of attainments. That is complete. That's what our effort is, to be complete. So being close to Baba, and then I have to be complete. And then I have to be perfect. I have to be complete and then I become perfect. So that is like our efforts now. So just look at when it comes to complete. That means we have all the qualities. We have love, we have patience, we have courage, every quality. But look at the percentage, how many times you lose patience, how many times you lose tolerance. Or other could be how many times I was able to pass with honor and situation didn't affect my stage. And you all must be experiencing this more and more, that now a lot of situations we are able to be just detached observer. It's a scene of drama. Every soul has different part to play. I have to focus on my part. I know everyone has different part, but I couldn't be playing part like anyone, no? I have my own part to play. And that is the biggest challenge, because sometimes 10 people are doing something and you say, oh, maybe I should be like that or do it. You have to remind yourself, I have to know my part, I have to play my part, so that there is no influence also of anyone's part. Appreciation is there, understanding is there, but I'm not going to take any influence from anyone's part. It's a very subtle influence comes. So that means you get very focused and kind of you, oh, I have to play my part. And it is so interesting when you give this thought to yourself, that, you remember Baba, or look at this time, out of 10, maybe 7 have lost patience. And they say, no, I don't think I can. But I have to increase patience so that I can give the cooperation of patience to others. See, Sakash is not only light and might, but Sakash could be of any virtue. Sakash is like rays, vibrations. So if you are very stable and you maintain your courage or whichever quality there, you are giving Sakash of that quality. And that's what I noticed with Brahma Baba also. And these days, Baba had been talking so much about enthusiasm. Remain, have enthusiastic, but also make others enthusiastic. And it's possible, you know, if I maintain that quality strongly, be stable in that quality. Stability is of each quality, like I had been courageous or I had been loveful, I had been, you know. So this way you are increasing your percentage, but you are also sharing the vibrations, which will others will feel supported, or they will feel, oh yes, I can inspire them. If this one can do, why I can't do? So one of the important aspect in Brahmin life is to remain engaged in efforts. Very simple examples Baba gave. Maya comes and Maya see you are very busy. Okay, she said, I will come again. You are busy, I let you do what you're doing. That's what I find, whether reflecting on points, whether remembering Baba, just be in your soul consciousness. There's so much to do. And you're doing not as compulsion or as a program, but you're doing because there is a pull. You feel the need, like present times. What is the need of us? And every place, Baba's homes, centers, whatever we call it, why people come there? Of course, Baba's place has Baba's blessing. So anyone comes, I feel so peaceful, I feel so loveful, I feel so peaceful, right? Is there anyone who doesn't experience peace when they come to Baba's home? Because that's Baba's home. We all go, we meditate, we remember Baba, we offer bhog. So all those vibrations are in the place, right? But when they start their journey, then it's not the place. Of course, vibrations will pull them back and they like to come. After COVID, there's so much interest. Majority of the soul really want to come to Baba's home more. But there are some very comfortable, like I am today on Zoom. Right? You say, okay, I can listen. But majority, like for us, our hall is big. So until now we allow 80, 90 or 100. But we have to keep like registration for next Sunday. It's quite a lot. But why they want to come to Baba's home? Today Baba had said yesterday, Murli, that your face and your activities, your eyes, should be so sparkling with love, with hope, enthusiasm, courage. So when they return, they feel rejuvenated. They feel that they received something. And we should remember every thought has vibration, every thought. And vibration creates that environment, atmosphere. I remember once I was sitting in Baba's room. And when I sit in Baba's room, I really look at him as real. You know, I talk to him, and we keep room very beautiful, offer fresh flowers, and when we offer bhog, in a, not only is Baba stress light, but Baba is there because we have invoked Baba also sitting there regularly. So the vibrations is what Sakash is like. What is Sakash is that very powerful vibrations. And those vibrations, when create experience in souls, they got direction in the life. Let's say they are confused or lost hope, or they have some situations. As soon as they feel courage or love, or it makes their head very light, hope. So light is also not only rays of light, but it could be rays of every vibration, every thought. And that is why Baba is saying, don't waste thoughts. Because it is your thought which is creating vibration, creating that energy, creating that atmosphere, and they are being guided. What lighthouse, might house doesn't carry the ship, right? Only gives direction. They look at that and say, oh, right, we're going in right direction, or I need to change direction. And people, old and young, everyone is so confused where to go next. Whether it's their money, whether it's their mind, whether it's their time, they want, where should I spend time, how much I should do, how much money I should keep, how much it's like little questions about practical life. But when they have real experience, they immediately get answers. I don't have necessarily to give answers. I want them to experience so that their own intellect can discern. All that is Sakash, right? All that is light and might. So Baba, if your thoughts are wasted, you're not able to serve them, right? So it is for the self and it is for service. Baba says double service, right? One day I realized that, when I'm saying, giving like lot of love and blessing, good wishes to anyone, actually first I am blessing myself. Someone said, how do I bless myself? I said, always think good. Always think elevated. They will become blessings for you first and then for others after. So actually you are giving to yourself. You are serving the self. And as much you serve the self, you are able to serve others. There might be a lot of practices not to have waste thoughts, a lot of realizations. Yesterday in Avyakt Parivar, there was this thing of silence in day-to-day life. It's for today, actually. And I had been practicing that how mind, words, time, energy, we really have to go into necessary details, not unnecessary details. You need to know, you need to be aware. But sometimes we go much more in detail than necessary. Using our point of drama. Okay, it's happened, it happened, stop it now. Thinking about it, talking about it. So it's not, it keeps moving, then we put comma, then Baba many times says question mark, finishes, then comma, then full stop. But with the practice, it could be just full stop too. But that's like creating inner silence whole day. And silence is power, right? Big power. So I think we have attention and we are able to manage a lot to be free from wasteful thoughts. Sometimes like a big storm comes, right? For 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then you could say, but what happened? Again, I have so many thoughts. Forget it. That was part of drama. Move forward. But also in Murli, I liked very much about thinking about my inheritance. It's not only my inheritance, but Baba says, let others also claim the inheritance from Baba. So I have to help other souls to connect with Baba and make it as easy. Through your remembrance, they feel that presence. So I was mentioning, I was sitting in Baba's room and someone sat at the back in the room. And after that, he was visiting from some country. So I wanted to say hello. And he said, I had always struggled with my relationship with God as Father. Maybe in Lokik he had some difficult time. And then he said, I felt so close to Baba today. So I was happy because I was feeling close to Baba. And here someone sitting behind came with such heavy heart, start feeling close to Baba. After that, I start really feeling that whatever are my vibrations, whether it's relationship or virtues, any soul around will get help. Only words and explanation, yes, it could help, but not really, unless that soul can experience. Baba had been saying a lot about experience. And what is experience? You be in that stage. Just be in that stage, and other souls will feel it, experience it. Don't think everyone or two could be different, but some souls definitely feel it. So what is my inheritance? See, inheritances which we all have, we are only reclaiming it, right? We are reclaiming it. And in between, Baba is making us worthy so that we can enjoy that inheritance. And you feel so secure when you think of inheritance, right? Many of you must have got some inheritance or might get from your Lokik parents. Recently someone got and they're so proud and also feel, oh, I have now enough to spend. So inheritance, whether it's of knowledge, whether it's of love, peace, powers, make whole list of inheritance you have. I always feel very proud of my inheritance from God. I always say, just imagine each one of you have been adopted by God directly. Each one of us have been adopted to reclaim our inheritance. Why Baba adopted us? Not to just make us say, okay, conquer Maya, so we keep, oh, Maya is still coming. Baba said, Maya will do what Maya has to do until end. But you have to be conqueror of Maya, means Maya shouldn't be able to touch you. So inheritance, intoxication of inheritance is a very, very powerful. How many of us remember what is my inheritance every day? Baba is Almighty. Baba says, just have awareness, I am Master Almighty. How many of have used this awareness two ways, whether in the like sitting and experiencing, other is when there is a situation. And I said, no, I am Master Almighty or I am Shiv Shakti. While being in a situation and using my inheritance or the powers which I get from Baba. So self-respect is to value your own thoughts. You keep thinking and you know it's not necessary. You are losing your self-respect. And when Baba said, if you have self-respect, even God will respect you. Because He will see that whatever way He looks at you, that's what you are looking at yourself. Don't just look at yourself with what you are today, but look at yourself with, as Baba said, worship worthy soul. Worship worthy souls. Now you are praiseworthy and then you become worship worthy. Just imagine the day you came to Baba, what you were and what you are today. So it's elevated, right? When Baba says, I am an elevated soul. Yes, I am elevated. When day I came to Baba, there were so many negative, vicious, wasteful. Every thought was like, which was not of a worthy soul. And now, whether it is 1 year, 10 years, 50 years, 40 years, whatever, the soul has become elevated, soul has become praiseworthy, soul is becoming worship worthy. So that self-respect, any weak thought comes, but that's from the past. No, I am not this now. I am not this now. Self-respect is what Baba is telling me. Who am I? I have to keep that in mind. And Baba will support that one strength. That means Baba is supporting your self-respect, respecting you as you maintaining the self-respect. Then you feel Baba's love also. Some have this difficulty of don't feel Baba's love. I said be in self-respect and see how much Baba loves you because He has adopted you. And you are Baba's child, Brahmin, sustaining the yajna. You are instruments, so Baba has to use you for service. Why Baba has adopted me? Why have I become Brahmin? Whatever I do, but what way? Why Baba wants me to be this? Because Baba wants us to use us as worthy instruments. See, one is I plan for service, I want to do this, I have this specialty. Other is just be qualified, just be worthy, and let Baba use you. Many say, oh really, Baba used me, Baba was doing this, and I definitely all the times feel it, that it's Baba who is using me as instrument, is Baba. So my aim is really to become worthy child. One time Dadi Jayanti was sharing a story that, there are souls, everyone has different specialty. Some are very good in giving talks, some do other kind of service. So one of the soul used to always feel bad that this one gets chance, I don't get it. So kind of not very happy and contentment. So the sister who had to give talk suddenly got sick. So they thought that maybe they should ask other one. So when she was asked, oh, how can I do it? Suddenly, I was not told before, and she made such a big thing and didn't talk. Dadi Jayanti said, if you would have kept yourself prepared, you would have given talk. And that would have opened door for you for next one. And this story Dadi shared, I never forget. Instead of wasting my time comparing with others, let me be prepared for Baba to use me. I don't want to be used same way like other one, right? I have my part. Baba will use me as instrument. But never lose hope, or never lose self-respect, or start feeling I'm not being useful. I know that when I couldn't travel for 2.5 years, 3 years, and not only travel, but I was mostly like confined more in the house of Baba's home. But I just start doing a lot of subtle work, go more subtle. What is subtlety? What is subtle purity? And some other souls who were with me, they knew that I'm happily accepting. So they start spending more time, and we together will have deeper. And then when Dadi Jayanti left body, it was like, I met her in hospital before leaving India. And that day she gave so much love, so much love. So I offered bhog for 12 days every evening. And then COVID began, and then I found in islands, sisters sitting alone. Some have blackout there because of some reasons. There are some very elderly people. There are some who are physically not able to do whatever. So I said, oh, maybe every evening we can just have a little chit chat. And Dadi Jayanti, always after meditation, 7:30. We are about to get up. She said, no, we didn't do chit chat. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And I said to myself, I'm not going to take this on my intellect. Oh, I have to give talk, or I don't want that kind of stress too. So I said, okay, I will take homework, and whatever I experience during the day, did it work or not, how much it worked, and even one day is not enough for one homework. So I was able to share the experience. So sometimes the teachings, one is Baba's teachings, other is what Dadis say. Even now when you open a class and listen to Dadi Jayanti, immediately your energy jumped, because she was always very enthusiastic, and my Baba, sweet Baba. So every moment Baba gives us to prepare, not only to face the situations, but to serve. Even you are in a very critical situation, what you're doing at that time is serving because you maintain courage and see people around you. Even in situations, I have to serve, right? I have Baba with me. So when I was coming from New York, so I told air hostess, I said, whenever we're crossing the space, flying over the space of Russia and that, can you let me know 5 minutes before, because I want to pray for the souls. I want to meditate. So they came running 5 minutes. Oh, sister, it's time for us to pray. I said, I want to give sakash to the souls. Even we know it's easy to begin the fire than to extinguish it. Because in external fire, there is inner greed or ego or whatever it is that keeps increasing. Oh, I don't want to be defeated. So we know that that fire can really explode. And so someone said, but when you all believe that there is end, then why you all give sakash? I said, souls should experience something from God before they leave body. They should feel something. So even externally they are, some of the students who were brought, they were in medical, about 11,000 students were there, which Prime Minister Modi was able to bring them. Even I saw 6 at Udaipur, same time they had landed. But what they could feel, what was their experience when at the border, they walked 30, 40 miles in snow. And they had nothing, just little luggage with them because they couldn't carry. There are millions who are fleeing. Somewhere our sakash can help those souls to have some courage for another day to live. It's like someone is leaving body, you will keep reminding the souls of God, right? Think of God, remember God. So we are saying through our thoughts. We are saying it, but not verbally, but our thoughts are saying this. And just imagine it's going to be more and more. Every day now the word Third World War is coming from their mouth, we're not saying anything. What we have to do is to give Baba's message. And Baba said, most powerful tool is through your thoughts. So it should come out of mercy, sympathy, duty, that I have to use my every thought to serve. So how can I waste it? It's like someone is hungry and you have extra sandwich or something, you would give them. So Baba has given us so much. This is the time for me to share. Some majority of them pray at that time, right? Oh God, help me, save us, God, do this. Of course, that's what they will do. So when I have such thoughts, it will help them to go more higher and higher. So whatever is their external situation, but internally, if they're connecting with God, they will have different feeling. Just imagine so many souls when they think of bombardment and all that. That won't happen when they, wherever they are, they will have internally that what their internal feelings were. Once I was offering vogue and Baba said, tell that soul to forget the external situation in which this soul left the body. But what is internal, and you all with your thoughts give them more support for that. So Mansa Seva is very important. So making our lives complete and be like Baba, we're not doing that alone, but everything, every step you're moving forward, your thought is getting more powerful. And that thought is serving. So this, we have to prepare ourselves like this now. Of course, it's necessary to plan service, because service is again how to give message, different method. But also don't get too engaged in social media and all the time, you know, even with us, every time give message, give class, Zoom is like keeping you very busy. But I have decided that I will do this much in a day. And rest I said, well, maybe tomorrow. Sister Jayanti, you have class with her tomorrow. She's physically very sick, very bad cold and all. And I know it's because she has Zoom whole day. And I had been telling her that it's exhausting. Body also has a limit. Soul wants to do more, but for me, very beginning, I just say I could do maybe 3 or 4 maximum. Otherwise, it's so easy to be always so. But I say no, I have to be in silence also. So think about, value your thought, be in self-respect, think of your inheritance, and also becoming perfect. I always remind myself very often why I came to Baba. I have to be this. And also at confluence age, how to be constantly with Baba. If I don't at confluence age enjoy my attainments, always keeping intellect busy, always solving this, planning this, no, not necessary. So many attainments of confluence age, which I need to cherish, right? I need to really feel good about it or stay in that experience. So I remind myself. Service is important, but again, balance is also important. Balance is what we call it, blissful and blessings, no, Baba once said. So now it's time for Baba's remembrance. It was really lovely to share with all of you, and I know there will be Holi very soon. How many of you living before 18th? Very few, yeah. So we are also planning to be there for 3-4 days very soon after Holi. So let's remember Baba.